Hello and welcome, fellow digital soldiers, to True Reporting. It is the 8th of August, and on today's podcast, we will be covering two articles I find most intriguing. The first one coming at us from Fox News, entitled Universal's The Hunt, that satirizes killing of deplorables, slammed online, called beyond sick and disturbing. If you don't know what they're talking about, a movie is being released about killing Trump supporters, and by all means, this is sadistic. The second one is coming at us from the Washington Post, entitled, I understand the temptation to dismiss Q. Here's why we can't. We seem to find ourselves creeping more and more into the mainstream media. The question is, when will the question be asked to Trump about you-know-who? But before we get into today's podcast, my friends, will you please welcome my sponsor, Noble Gold. Hi friends, Thomas from True Reporting here. I wanted to tell you about my sponsor, Noble Gold, and what they're doing for the month of August. For the month of August, they are giving away an awesome deal for $25. You can have your choice between one of these 5 awesome US Mint coins with a combination of getting the Trump 2020 coin. These things are beautiful, and a lot of you guys have bought them. And I can promise you this, after we get done winning bigly, these things are going to triple in worth. So go to TrumpCoin2020.com and type in the promo code TRUreporting25 for your discount today. Thanks, friends, and enjoy the podcast. All right, guys, it's good to have you aboard. Let's go ahead and hop into it. This is True Reporting. So again, Universal's The Hunt, that satirizes killing of deplorables, slammed online and called beyond sick and disturbing. Universal's The Hunt isn't even out yet, but many are taking to Twitter to react to the film's trailer, calling it beyond sick and disturbing. The Hunt, which initially was going to be called Red State versus Blue State, is billed as a satire that follows wealthy thrill seekers as they take a private jet to a 5-star resort where they embark on a deeply rewarding expedition that involves hunting down and killing deplorables. If this is projection, I don't know what is, because we all know what takes place on these secret islands and flying on private jets, right? Universal is releasing a horrific movie about hunting down people called The Hunt. They pulled the ads, but they have not stopped its release. Absolutely irresponsible movie, and fosters hate and killing of people who don't believe the same as the hunters. Hollywood be shamed, a user wrote. Another shared, I just read a report on the movie, The Hunt, that comes out soon. This is why I can't pick a side. A movie about rounding up a group of, in quote, deplorables and hunting them is okay? Put all gun laws on the books, but we're entertained by a movie about killing Trump supporters? Really, Universal Picks? You greenlit a movie like this in this era of political violence and mass murder? I will no longer pay to watch your movies if you release this movie, another tweeted. And we can also suggest that this is another factor of downfall in Hollywood, correct? They are shooting themselves in the foot. Also, this is a form of terrorism, if I may say so. Someone else shared, The Hunt is the most disgusting and terrifying thing I've ever heard. You yell about gun control and then release a movie about shooting people who are against your views. Open your eyes, people. God help us all. And by open your eyes, people, awaken, right? The idea and trailer for The Hunt is disturbing. The fact it was done by the same people responsible for the Purge movie speaks of how much Hollywood believes and desires our nation to devolve into civil war, chaos, and a place where only leftist elite survive, a user tweeted. That is absolutely true, guys. Absolutely true. Let's move on to the next article real quick that, as you can see, we're back in the news. It seems recently we're never out of the news. It's mind-boggling, right? I understand the temptation to dismiss 17. Here's why we can't. We can see here the letter right here next to a man holding a machine gun, right? I love how they threw that out there. That's the first thing someone's going to see. These people are sick. President Trump and his allies, including former special counsel Robert Mueller, that's a lie in itself. Robert Mueller is a deep state black hat, are waging a covert campaign to root out an elite child trafficking ring. That is true. Mass arrests are imminent. That also is true. John F. Kennedy Jr. is about to reveal that he has been alive all along so he can take Vice President Pence's place on the 2020 Republican presidential ticket. Seems like a reach to me. And a mysterious government official using the handle you-know-who, Clarence Patriot, is recruiting soldiers to the cause. That is also true. To most of us, these statements are almost too bizarre to be fathomed. But for believers in the conspiracy theory known as you-know-what, which the FBI recently identified as a domestic terrorist threat, that was shown as false, they are important truths. I understand the temptation to dismiss anyone who believes in this wild concoction as merely easily misled. Such disdain makes it easier to believe that 17 and beliefs like it remain on the fringes of American life. But to focus merely on 17's content and not the form it takes is to miss why the conspiracy theory has spread so wildly and why similar ideas may prove incredibly difficult to combat. The best way to think of 17 may not be as a conspiracy theory, but as an unusual absorbing alternate reality game with extremely low barriers to entry. The 17 poster's cryptic missives gives believers a task to complete on a semi-regular basis, even more so than conventional video games such as Fortnite Battle Royale, which rolls out new seasons with new scenarios roughly every 10 weeks. 17 is an open-ended, or it will be as long as the revelations continue. She's almost saying right here that these things could be coming true, right? But what they're doing is they're backpedaling in a certain way. They don't want to bring too much emphasis on Q because negative press actually brings more eyes onto the subject. Positive press or kind of in the middle press is more neutral. It's like kind of moot point. You don't need a game console or a special keyboard to engage with 17, and you don't need fast reflexes or a knowledge of keyboard shortcuts to be an active and successful participant. The initial post from this Clarence Patriot appeared on 4chan, and 17 discussions migrated from there to Reddit and then on to 8chan. YouTube video creators have found that 17 content is a lucrative niche. There are active 17 Facebook groups and apps such as 17 Drops, banned from the Apple Store but still available for Android, can deliver news of fresh 17 pronouncements straight to a user's phone. Once a person has started consuming 17's content, the actual gameplay is relatively simple. Participants concoct their own interpretations of Q's Gnostic breadcrumbs, in quotes, or share those dreamed up by others. If this were a conventional game, the play might end there, but 17 players have shown an increasingly tendency to enlist the rest of us as unwilling participants in their fantasies, sometimes with violent consequences. That is a lie. 17 jumped into the public eye when believers began appearing at Trump rallies with 17-related shirts and signs in an attempt to thrust their message into public discussion. They have been successful. The president has amplified Twitter accounts that promote the theory, invited prominent believers to the White House, and the Trump re-election campaign recently released an ad in which 17 signs are visible. I mean, right there, guys. They're talking about Lionel from Lionel Nation. They're talking about all of these Q proofs, right? That's what they're showing. In 2018, a man used an armored truck to block traffic at the Hoover Dam while holding a sign demanding action on a 17 priority. And earlier this year, a man allegedly killed reputed mafia boss Frank Cali while attempting to perform what he apparently described as a 17-inspired citizen's arrest. If 17 functions like a puzzle game, other extremists are borrowing from the aesthetics of a video game to stylize their massacres and to challenge potential imitators to heights of violence. That is a lie. The gunman who killed 51 people and wounded another 49 in the shootings in March live streamed the attack from his own perspective and scored it to a soundtrack, noted Robert Evans as the news site Bellingcat, whatever that is. That is some obscure website, right? A man who allegedly attacked a San Diego synagogue during Passover used similar production techniques, and on the message boards where racists lionize the killers. They often speak of these events in the competitive language of body counts. While most 17 believers will never engage in violence, that is true. Part of the appeal of 17 for participants is that the conspiracy theory assigns enormous significance to even relatively minor acts such as posting on message boards or sharing Facebook posts. It is addictive in the same way that a game is, says Travis Few, a researcher who studies 17. By contrast, in quote, conventional political participation is oriented toward far more mundane processes. And, in quote, that all has the impact of what? Hopefully getting a state assembly member elected that you feel at the best ambivalent about? Views suggest that 17 offers something a hell of a lot more. You can sit at your computer and search for information and then post about what you find. And 17 basically promises that through this process, you are going to radically change the country, institute this incredible, almost bloodless revolution, and then be part of this historical movement that will be written about for generations. This promise of the world historical significance also justifies the time that 17 believers spend deciphering posts and promoting 17. Even as the game-like qualities of 17 draw in believers, they vigorously deny that they are participants in live-action roleplay. After all, if they were, why would the media and the government pay so much attention to them? It's one thing to try to debunk 17 and white supremacist ideas. See, she threw that in there together like that, sneakily. I didn't like it. Whether by trying to prove that John F. Kennedy Jr. is definitely dead or to combat demographic narratives of, in quote, replacement. It's quite another to figure out how to offer adherents of 17 and other distorted worldviews experiences that will be as thrilling and fulfilling as conspiracy games have become. As View put it, we're living not in a marketplace of ideas, but in a, quote, marketplace of realities. And the tools of gaming have been given disaffected people the ability to bend our reality to theirs, whether we like it or not. And my friends, I don't find that as too much of being a hit piece per se, but there are some innuendos of that we are crazy or so on and so forth, which is not the truth. It's not the truth at all. She's trying to besmirch our character, and this is what they do on the Washington Post. They're sick people. Definitely agents run this, Bezos, so on and so forth. So, my friends, don't take it personal. It actually wasn't that bad. If you found this informative and you enjoyed it, my friends, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter at TRUreporting. We are approaching 15,000 followers quite rapidly. You can also donate to this channel by going to my PayPal or Patreon in the links below. We also have a P.O. box and we have TRUreporting merch if you would care to partake in supporting this channel. My friends, take care of one another and be loving to one another, and I will talk to you very soon. Thank you for the support. Goodbye.